Hello, everybody. So today we're going to talk about a very, hopefully, some of you find interesting topic. I think everybody will probably find it interesting. It'll depend on how I deliver it, of course. Today I want to talk a little bit about dating and the type of partners we choose. So I was talking to a friend the other day and who recently broke off a relationship. They weren't really officially dating yet. They were in the early stages of getting to know each other still, and he broke things off because of this partner having a type of mental health diagnosis. And I have been thinking about that conversation ever since I had it, just because as a manual wheelchair user, someone with a very visible disability, I am, as many of you who have a visible physical disability can relate, we are often disregarded in the dating pool. People see us from even before the first hello. We are judged, we are discriminated, we are written off. And so, because of my very painful personal experience in that area, I have been thinking about why and how that relationship was broken off, and if I was in that person's position, how I would feel. And the thing is, it doesn't feel good at all. It's very hurtful. At the same time, though, we all have our own preferences, and we all, something as personal and long term as a life partner, we should be able to have our own preferences in terms of anything, whether it be to live with someone with a disability or to live with someone who's not as stingy with money, say, and or a number of different things. Someone who snores, maybe some people can live with that and others can't. So what I'm trying to say is that preferences are okay. We should all be allowed to have preferences, especially in the area of finding a life partner. However, I think each and every one of us should be mindful of where those influences are coming from. Like, am I breaking off this relationship because this person has a mental health diagnosis because I personally have lived with someone who has a mental health diagnosis, and I know that I don't have it in me to have a healthy relationship with that type of person? Or am I ending the relationship with that individual with a mental health diagnosis because of my fears of what other people have said or what other people have written, or just secondhand information? And if everything is going right in that relationship, except for the fact that they have a mental health diagnosis, is that a red flag that you cannot live with? I can't think of the word. There's an actual word for it. Many of you, it's probably on the tip of your tongues shouting at me. Deal breaker. There we go. Is that a deal breaker for you? So for many people in wheelchairs, I know for sure, because of the unhealthy image of people with disabilities in movies and on TV shows, on various visual media platforms, people with disabilities, people in wheelchairs are often painted in a negative light. So yes, for a lot of people, dating someone in a wheelchair, dating someone who cannot walk is a deal breaker for them. And that is their preference. I am saying there is nothing wrong with that. What I am arguing and advocating for is to be mindful and to be aware and to be introspective of where that influence comes from. How did I come to this decision that dating a wheelchair user or dating someone who cannot walk or dating someone who has a very visible disability is a deal breaker for me? How did I come to this decision? Who influenced me? So who or what influenced me to come to that decision that you don't want to date someone with a visible physical disability? And really give a lot of thought about that. And then observe in your real world experience. Get to know people with visible physical disabilities. Get to know people with mental health diagnosis. Get to know people with developmental disabilities. Get to know people that are different from you and witness how they are. I think first-hand information and second-hand information is important. So obviously it's important to study and read other people's experiences, but it's also very important to experience and witness things for yourself. So as a person, as a wheelchair user, I am 100% sure that I can do a lot of things that people judge me for, and a lot of things that people think that I cannot do and don't give me the benefit of the doubt even before the first hello. I know with online dating, I used to not reveal my disability, and I don't tell them until I've developed some sort of connection through chatting about hobbies or values or any number of things to get to know a person. And then I share that I am a wheelchair user, that I cannot walk before meeting. And most people, from my experience, as soon as I reveal that part, it's a deal breaker for them. And they are unwilling to go further. And then some people will still proceed with the date, but they only want something casual, meaning just sex. And then very, very, very few of those will consider something more long term. But the thing is, as you all know, dating is not a one-sided decision. I was going to say game because a lot of times it feels like a game. It's not a one-sided decision, and for the very, 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 very few who are willing to look into something more long-term, I, for X, Y, or Z reasons, may not be interested. And I am allowed that, as you are too, for those of you with and without any kinds of disabilities. We, as I said earlier in this video, we are all allowed to have our preferences, especially for something as big and as personal as finding a life partner. What I am advocating for is to be introspective, to be mindful, to be aware of what is influencing us, who is influencing us, what life experiences are influencing us, what sources are influencing us, whether that be movies, TV shows, books, or family members, or friends, or what society at large have taught us, just be aware. And if you, having thought through all of those influences, feel good about your decision, either to move forward with someone with a visible or invisible disability, or to not move forward with someone with a visible or invisible disability in the dating realm, then at least you've given it your thorough thought and you've educated yourself. Not only through being introspective, not only through your own research, your own introspection, being aware and all of that, but also through your own, a good portion of your own personal experience too. You've given people that are different from you the benefit of the doubt that they are just as capable, they are just as desirable, they are just as funny, inquisitive, curious, whatever you are. Give them the benefit of the doubt that they are just as that and not worlds different from you, because the chances are they probably are more similar to you than you think. And so I think that's why that conversation has remained on my mind, of my friend breaking off things because of that individual having a mental health diagnosis, because it hits so close to home, because as I said earlier, I am written off by most people. And it is very hurtful. And it's so hard to change a whole society's mindset. It's so hard to change the social script of the majority of the world. I am definitely against the current. And so I still try, but I also just live my life. I also just try my best to just be me. And then do advocacy like this. I don't know how many of you will see this little channel of mine, but for those of you who, randomly encounter it, I hope it benefits your life somehow. I hope it gives you just that much courage to just be you. And even though you know that the social script currently is written in such a way that writes you off, still be you, still do the good work. And if you're interested in doing advocacy work for people like you, people like me, then do it. Don't let perfection get in the way. Don't let other people's opinions get in the way. Don't let what are other things that just exterior factors get in the way. I know this video is going to be imperfect, just like the last one and just like the one before. But in order to be able to create our voice, and not necessarily create our voice, but have our true authentic voice come out, we need to be willing to exercise it. And exercising, I am exercising it right now by talking to you in front of this camera and sharing my truth in the area of dating. Even though I know it's imperfect, even though I know that it's not polished, even though I know that I am not speaking as eloquently and articulately as I would like, but I'm saying my truth imperfectly in hopes that as I create these videos, I will become more and more coherent, more and more clear, more and more effective. And so thank you so much for your attention today. That's my little 2 cents on dating today. Have a most wonderful day, and I will visit you next week.